Hello, awesome you. Thank you so much for your presence. Today we are going to move in a way that will let us explore and open up the hips and back area. We're taking a playful, soft moment to get juicy, creamy, and buttery. All the good stuff. We do tend to store a lot of stiffness, both physically and emotionally, in the hips and back. So let's move some of that through today, shall we? Alright, let's get started. On the mat, in a child's pose, let's just get right down to it. Knees wide if you can, sitting on your heels, and let's sink down here. And then looking up slightly, coming up on the fingertips and sinking even lower. Very nice. Walking your hands to the right for a side stretch. Breathing into this and then walking yourself to the left. Coming up to tabletop now for cat-cows, but more so free flow movement. So spinal waves, moving hips side to side or taking circles, but we are in a tabletop, moving freely in whatever shape and form you fancy. And don't worry at all about what you look like, but just tune into how you feel. That's what we want. Tune into how it feels to move so freely. Fueling ourselves with the breath as well as we do this. And eventually come back to stillness, tabletop. Let's go down into puppy pose, and this time we're gonna try to get our nose or even our chin onto the mat. Feel free to look up, bring yourself up and then back down again. And don't do any harsh movements, just ease into this, see how it feels in the shoulders, in the heart space area and upper back. Important to breathe here to send the breath in those stiff areas. Feel free to have your shoulders quite wide away from your ears. Nice and soft. And coming back up to tabletop. Preparing for down dog. Let's come into down dog. You're looking between your thighs, chest is quite close to your thighs, so that means you might want to bend your knees quite generously and also bend one knee then the other, maybe come up on your tippy toes. Just walk your dog here. Take your time. Now bring your right foot gently between your hands and come into a low lunge. If you feel that you need to, you can pad your knee with your mat. That should feel a bit softer and more supported. Just fold the mat under your knee. And now we're gonna switch between half split and then low lunge, half split and low lunge. Focus your attention on the hip area here. Really breathe into the hips. That's what we're moving, getting into. So switch between low lunge, half split, low lunge, half split. Now preparing for lizard pose. You can have your knee either down on the mat or up. I personally just prefer to have it up, but that's my body, you do you. So you choose how you want your back leg to be. And once you've found your spot, just sort of maybe roll a bit back and forth or be in stillness, whatever your body wants. And lizard pose. And releasing that, coming down now into a child's pose, knees nice and wide. And gently bring yourself back up into tabletop. And up into down dog. Alright, and we're doing the same more or less on the other side. Walking your dog a little bit and then slide your left leg this time in between your hands for low lunge first. Get into your low lunge, and when you're ready you can start to go between half split and low lunge in your own time. One breath, one movement. Now getting up into lizard pose, same thing, you can have your knee up or down. And release the pose. All right, coming to sit, and then all the way on the back, getting into a bridge pose here, really sending the hips up, up, up. And you can stay like this, or you can actually slide your hands under the back and get into a supported bridge. I personally quite like it because I do feel that it opens up a bit more. So just try things out. No sort of quick movements here, careful with the shoulders. Hips are up, knees close together. You can even breathe here. Stick your tongue out as you breathe. Release what you need. Feel free to try to interlace your fingers if that feels nicer. Staying in bridge pose. And eventually coming down, taking a full body stretch. And then into banana. So kind of bring yourself into a banana shape on one side. Really breathe into the body. And then on the other side. Enjoy that stretch. And back to neutral. Knees into chest here, rolling a little bit side to side. Taking a happy baby. Letting your hips be soft, open, alive. Sending the breath there. And releasing and rolling forward and back a couple of times. And eventually coming back to seating and then tabletop. Can roll your spine here a couple of times. Take any free flow movements before we go on to the next. All right. Taking a bit of a back bend, so we're extending the arms up overhead. And then switching to puppy pose. So we're going to do that a few times. One breath, one movement. So from puppy pose to arms extended. And we're doing a bit of a back bend here. Progressively bending the back a little more. And feel free to support your back with your hands. You can hold your lower back area with your hands. And always do this safely. Just tune into your own body, what you feel like you want to do. So back bend, puppy pose, switching between those two. And eventually we'll be preparing for a camel pose. I really like that one. So you can maybe tuck your toes under first. Bend your back, support it with your hands, and then eventually touch your heels and grab the heels basically with the hands. Open the chest and really breathe into that. Pubic bones are also out. And gently release. Come back into puppy pose here, or a spinal wave, or down dog. You decide. Okay, now we're going to lower all the way back onto our belly. Forehead on mat, hands under your head. And bringing hands slightly off the mat, forehead as well, and knees. Breathing deeply and lower. Once more, inhale up. And extend, lower. Once again up, and this time you can have your arms actually behind you towards the heels. And lower. Now we're going to grab one foot with one hand and then the other, and inhaling, trying to come up here. Pubic bones are pressing on the mat. Breathing deeply into this. And lower. Well done. Bring yourself back up. Puppy pose or child's pose for a moment. And get yourself seated now on the mat. Bring one foot in front of the other or on top of the other and forward fold. And come back up and switch the legs. And inhale, forward fold, and exhale. We're coming towards the end now. Thank you so much for practicing. Well done, and I'll see you on the next class. Take care.